subtle introspection, the surrenderer, the one that's saying, I can't surrender, or I've surrendered now, or I need to surrender more. Check that. What's that voice? Is that your pure consciousness saying that? Consciousness doesn't know anything about surrender. It's the individual autonomous identity dressed in this virtual reality suit, physical body, mental body, emotional body, senses, instincts, desire, blah, 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 desire to awaken, desire to go chase sense pleasures, all that. That's the individual, you can say ego. Ego means individual. That's what it means. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm the best non-dual person. All y'all better just recognize. It doesn't mean that. I mean, that's a form of ego. Ego can also be, oh, I'm nothing. I'm nobody. Like, I'm stupid. I'm never going to wake up. That's also ego. It's the individual self that thinks it's an individual self. So, therefore, that's part of the game. So God puts the instinct in that individual self to aspire to know its essence or source, which is pure consciousness. Well, when that instinct to wake up becomes activated, then there's natural talk of surrender, because you want to surrender this individual autonomous self so that you can so that the pure consciousness can start to filter through this individual self. You see the importance of the individual self? It needs to be there so that it can enjoy the fragrance or fruits when the pure consciousness starts to come through. But the individual self has to kind of dissolve to a certain degree so that the fragrance can come through. Otherwise, it's like blocked. If all I'm thinking about is like, I got to get a girlfriend, I got to get a job, and make money, and I got to do this and got to do that. And when the mind's real busy like that, there's no space for the pure consciousness to shine through. Pure consciousness is there, obviously. The individual self is housed in it. But we have to, our higher intelligence realizes, whoa, something needs to surrender this individual self, because we've already tasted the pure self. People are like, how can I get back to this experience I had? I felt peace and everything, and I was awake for 2 days or awake for a month or whatever. By the way, yeah, the intensity of those experiences change. It's not that you just done. Something's tasted that, so something's realized through evolution. We have to evolve. You can't just tell this stuff to, first lifers or very simple village people. They're just going to smile and yeah. So my point for saying that is you have to give yourself space to go through this evolutionary journey. I'm covering a lot of angles as I talk, Something has tasted the pure self in the nice peace that comes from that, the balance, and something realizes I have to surrender my individual self in order to taste more of that. But see, that can cause stress. This is why we're talking about surrender the surrenderer. Because the mind will say, I need to surrender this individual self to taste the pure self. And then it'll get involved. And it'll start, if you have a spiritual practice or whatever, prayer, whatever, you start pursuing that as though you're pursuing your master's degree in school or something. If I just study hard enough, then I'm going to get it. And then you start, you grade yourself. I got a B today. I only meditated for an hour, and my mind was talking, and then the next day, I got an A. This judgment from the mind causes friction. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it's necessary. You see, everything's necessary. Why? So that you're doing it. We got to to transcend something. We got to do it to see, oh yeah, this isn't serving us. So that one that's saying, I need to surrender, it's a higher level voice for sure. It's better than saying, I need to go rob this person to get money, so then I have money and then I can go get girl, whatever. There's different degrees of intelligence. Depending on the religion that you read, they have different words. I forget Sanskrit words, but you have the Buddha mind or the pure mind, and you have the lower level sense-driven mind. And so this is this thought to surrender is coming from your higher mind, but you see the limitation in that after a certain point, because something realizes, you know what, I'm causing more stress than helping. Actually, that has to come naturally and organic, though, for one. See, those who aren't ready for that or aren't close to that happening, if they hear these words, they don't want to hear them. It messes up their karma or somehow, their destiny. They're like, no, I'm full on. Like, what are you talking about? This guy, can you believe he's saying you don't have to do anything? Oh, another non-dual idiot. That's not what I'm saying. But that's how they hear it. They can't help it. I have compassion. I know how that works. You can only hear, you can hear what you can hear. And if somebody could be just really speaking some high level stuff, automatically, based on your CPU gigabyte storage capacity, you're going to step that down into what you can hear. And you're going to think you're hearing what the person's saying. You're hearing what your mind's saying, but you don't know you're hearing what your mind's saying, because there's no space. You don't know the difference between when something's being landing in your heart and you're understanding things intuitively versus you're understanding things intellectually. So you're going to think you know something, but you really don't know anything. So this one that really wants to wake up, you got to surrender that. But you see how it sounds? You got to surrender that. Who's going to surrender that, though? The one that's doing it? The one that really wants to surrender, now it's going to surrender? You can't. You can't expect, it's like expecting a 4 GB, I don't know nothing about computers, but I think you can understand my analogy. It's like expecting a 4 GB hard drive to do what a 6 GB hard drive can do. It can't do it. Well, then how do you surrender the surrenderer? That happens. It happens. Can I just say like that? It just happens. Hearing these kind of things, because you already know this, it can awaken this knowledge. So then when that knowledge starts to become more awake via repetition, via grace, via good karma, good healthy lifestyle, everything helps. When that starts to awake more, then it's like it combusts and goes through the whole being. And then something just lets go. And you may not even know you did it until later. Maybe somebody will point it out. They're like, man, you were talking about this, how to do this and that, and now all of a sudden it looks like you're doing it. And you're like, oh, whoa, I think I am. Like you forgot that you're even trying to do it. That's an organic shift. So you just be as conscious as you can. I love introspection. I'm just always checking because I like it. It's not a heavy work. It's not like I'm going to the gym. I just like checking. What else is there to do? Like where's this thought? Like what is that? What's it trying to do? Is there an angle? Is there some subtle motive there? Why did I talk to this person? Why did I give this compliment? Anything behind that? It's just fun. And then you start checking yourself. If you're praying or something, God help me, what am I going to do? Something sees, like what am I... Prayer is cool, by the way. I was going to make a video on that. Let me know if you want to hear about prayer. Like, what am I praying to? Help me. Help me. Help who? Help this individual construct movie. Okay. How can it get help, though? Like, it's not entirely real, but it feels very real. How can it get help? It needs to surrender. Oh, but it can't. Doesn't have the GB to surrender. God, can you help me surrender? What does that mean? Higher intelligence, pure intelligence. Can you kind of just absorb this lower human self, which is cool? Like, it's cool. I'm not knocking the human self. People that knock the mind and the human self, they don't entirely realize what's going on yet. We need this self to function. But it's like, God, can you just kind of absorb it more? Because it feels like the human self is too much in the foreground. And that's causing the experience I'm having, it's not so good. It's like imbalanced, and there's, I want to, something wants to be, because you put it in me, this instinct to be more balanced so that I can taste higher level states. Can you kind of just absorb this more so that then it can dissolve more so that I can enjoy my existence? Who am I praying to? We're praying to our own deeper self. I'm getting into prayer now. That's just one aspect. I mean, one way, one vehicle to be more absorbed in your true nature. Meditation, prayer, or japa, or whatever you want to do. But catch out that surrenderer. Catch that out. Question it more. Don't curse it. Just question it. Just look at it more. And then be aware what's looking at it. Can you go any deeper than that? You tell me. All right. See you.